Today should be pretty to the point. It's been a busy day for us over here at BizNexus, so definitely squeezing this one in, but we want to keep it every week, so hopefully this one will be valuable for you. Today, we're just going to do the quick social selling intro, as always, and got a lot of questions this week about posting for the profile versus the company page. So I am just going to touch on that. We've had a lot of direct messages in the Slack channel, which has kicked up this week. We've actually noticed some regular users engaged with that, so it's a good sign. So maybe we'll continue to focus on that as a resource for you guys. Then I'm going to briefly touch on some LinkedIn demographics. We've had some people asking about boomer engagement with LinkedIn, and that's a tricky question. So I'm going to walk through my take on that and how useful LinkedIn is for this boomer demographic, for this seller tsunami that everyone's been talking about for the past decade plus, right? And then we'll go through some CRM functionality. We use HubSpot, so I'll use HubSpot for this, but I do want to touch on some points that are important for conversion, right? For when you get this contact off of LinkedIn, off of Facebook, off of Twitter, into your CRM, how do you stay on your target prospect? How do you stay on that seller through a nurturing program off of LinkedIn, off of Facebook, off of Twitter, right up to the point of engagement? So for new people on the call, for those who don't know me, my name is Adam. I run BizNexus. I run BN.Digital. Long and short of it, I do deal origination. I've done that for the duration of my career. BizNexus is a platform designed to help business brokers in particular connect with buyers and sellers and post listings and share content. And that, for the most part, is free for business brokers. They're upgrade options, but you can engage with that today, and that is free for the intermediary. We make our money in other ways. BN.Digital, the agency, we have content like this, webinars like this, that's free as well, but we also have programs, monthly paid programs for running social selling, for running outreach, and we focus exclusively on the world of business acquisition and sale. Social selling is our wheelhouse. It's really what we focus on, and the entire point of a social selling program is, again, I say this every week, is to go after your primary prospects. If you're a business broker, that means the seller. If you're an estate planner, maybe that's lawyers. If you're buyout, that's going to be the seller. And then if you can also get your referral network, get that referral network flywheel going. So if you're going after business owners, maybe the financial advisors, the accountants, the lawyers, the insurance agents, etc. If you can get that referral network clear on who you are, what you offer, and stay top of mind with them, as they get leads, they'll pass those on to you as well. So it's really just getting a comprehensive funnel set up and then working at every stage continuously. The end goal of all of these social selling tips is to get the meeting, to get the phone call, to get that cup of coffee, to get the real world engagement, to get the real world relationship with a high value prospect. We talk a lot about LinkedIn here, and that is because from a B2B standpoint, there's no other platform out there that allows for what LinkedIn allows for, right? In terms of targeting, in terms of engagement, in terms of clarity. Who is your prospect? What have they done for the duration of their career? Is this somebody who you want to engage with or not? It is by far the best option for that out there. It's really the only B2B social platform out there that's doing what it's doing. So if you want to access any of our services, here you go, BizNexus.com, BN.Digital. 5 stages of social selling. We go through different pieces of this program each week, but these are not really operating sequentially when you're setting it up. Yes, they are, but once you have a social selling program live, you want to be doing each of these on an ongoing basis. So you want to make sure your profiles stay optimized, right? Your LinkedIn profile, your Twitter profiles, your company profiles, your website. These are living documents. It's a living brand. You want to constantly make sure it's optimized for your target prospect to meet the pain points of your target prospect, right? You should be seen as a clear solution to the pain points, to the needs of whoever your target prospect is. Targeting, building programs, nurturing programs, All of this has to go on, has to be touched on an ongoing basis to run an effective social selling program. Today, we're going to talk about some of that optimizing and some of that targeting. And then with the CRM, we're going to go into this capture zone and talk a little bit more about that. Had a great recommendation in the feedback this week, actually from Bob Ferris. I think you're on the call, so I'll give you a shout out. He mentioned that he'd like to see something on the capture once a month, right? So if you're talking about getting people off of LinkedIn, getting people off of Twitter, off of Facebook, into into your CRM, into a real world relationship, what are the tactics for that? So I think that's a great idea. We're going to do that once a month. We're going to focus exclusively on this little capture area and give you tips to help with that. So to go to the questions that we got a lot of randomly in the Slack channel this week, some confusion around the LinkedIn profile and the company page, what those are, but how to leverage them, right? Different strategies for both. So LinkedIn, the entire platform is divided between two categories, members and organizations, right? And so if you're a business broker, or if you're running your own business, maybe there's a lot of overlap here because you're developing your personal brand right alongside your company brand. But if you're working for a major franchise, well, it might be a little different, right? So with the personal profile, focus on value, right? With a social selling program, you want to clearly establish who you are, what you do, and that should really be speaking to the croc brain, right? Don't make it fancy. You want to just get it out there. So if someone is in line for a cup of coffee, a coffee shop, which I guess not many people are doing these days, but the point is, if they're on their phone and they're checking out your profile, they should know what you do very, very quickly. And you want to continue to focus on establishing yourself as an authority in your area, in your niche, through your posting, through your commenting in target groups, et cetera, et cetera. So for the majority of people out there, you're going to be focused on building your personal profile, building your personal brand. But you should absolutely be posting and engaging with your company profile and your company brand alongside that. The company brand, first of all, if you have assistants, if you have virtual assistants, you can have 5, 6 people on your company profile and manage the advertising, manage the outreach, manage the sponsored posting. If you have over 300 people following your company, you can actually target your posts. You can target your posts according to area, according to company size, according to job title. Those features are continuing to develop. LinkedIn has not done enough with the company profile, and that feature is going to continue to get better with engagement features. You can advertise with your company profile, right? You can't do that through your personal profile. So you can put some ad dollars behind a boost. Let's say you did one of these articles on BizNexus, for example, right? One of the blog posts that we talk about, where if you go to BN.Digital and you answer the questions, we'll create a blog post and do a video interview with you. If you post that on your company page, you can boost that to business owners in your area. You can boost that to financial advisors, to accountants, to lawyers, to your referral network. You can put $100, $200 behind that boost and make sure that that post shows up right in their news feed, and it's establishing your bona fides, right? Because you got interviewed with BizNexus, you're a qualified authority in the area of business acquisition and sale, and you're putting that right in front of the business owners when they log into their LinkedIn. So 2 different things: company profile, personal profile, 2 different strategies. Personal profile, focus on the brand, focus on value. Company profile, you can be a little more salesy, right? You can push that webinar, you can push the business valuation, push the free consultation, push the newsletter sign up. That's where you can have that clear call to action to get your prospects off of LinkedIn and into a multiple touch point digital outreach program, right? Going into LinkedIn and talking about the boomer issue and some of the questions around who's on LinkedIn, who's engaged with this. I think everybody right now post-COVID, it's just gone through the roof with people engaging with any online platform. But for work, especially, like I said, LinkedIn is the only B2B professional platform out there doing what it does. And if you think about that with think of B2C. Think of Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and all of these platforms that are competing for those same eyeballs. LinkedIn's kind of the only game in town, right? And that's really, really important when it comes to establishing yourself on a B2B networking platform like this. There's really nowhere else to go. So the stats are clear. You got almost 700 million people using this. You have a good number of visitors, of users visiting this site multiple times a day. And even if they don't, if you're using a social selling program effectively, when they do visit, your posts are going to be in the top of their feed when they log in. So the breakdown from a demographic standpoint, you do have the majority of users, right, in the 46 to 55-year-old demographic, right? And that's right where CEOs tend to be, right, in their 50s. I think 58 is the average age of a CEO on the Fortune 500 list. So this is only growing, right? These percentage numbers for each age demographic is going up every day. This is not becoming any more or any less relevant. It's only becoming more relevant as we move forward in this new post-COVID world. The takeaways from the demographics and from the LinkedIn usage, I think again, it's essential that you're on this platform if you're in B2B anywhere, right? Everyone's been engaging with it since the pandemic. That's only going to accelerate regardless of what happens with all of this. The platform, again, most popular with people who are pretty seasoned in their careers, with business owners especially. That 46, 55 plus demographic, that's LinkedIn's wheelhouse. If somebody is only visiting once per day, here's the value with a good social selling program. When they log in, your post is going to be in the top of their feed if you are doing this effectively, right? So you'll still get your message in front of those eyeballs when they log in. They don't have to be on LinkedIn all day. Second, if you can get their data and put them into a CRM, or if you can get them to sign on to a newsletter, if you can get them away from LinkedIn, again, that's half the value of LinkedIn is the superior targeting that they have and the visibility that they allow for this B2B prospecting. So that's highly, highly valuable. So you want to grab these contacts, hopefully get them off of LinkedIn into your newsletter, into your drip, get them into your webinar. That's critical. So that's really all I want to talk about in terms of LinkedIn today. Go straight to HubSpot because we've had a ton of questions on that in the CRM. When you get people into your social selling program, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, ideally you're capturing everything in a CRM. Now, this is a dummy CRM that I'm showing, but there is some key functionality. One big one for us, for any of our clients who are on a social selling program, you should have some sort of deal pipeline, right? So when somebody kind of raises their hand to show that they're engaged with your campaign outreach, right? If they've downloaded an ebook or they've replied to an email or something along those lines, that immediately goes from being a marketing qualified lead. Well, I'm sorry, it becomes a marketing qualified lead, and it needs to become a sales qualifying lead. So ideally, you have those leads going into some sort of pipeline, right? So here we've got Johnny Seller lead, obviously an example, winding up in this first stage of the sales funnel that's in network, right? And the idea is to move this lead now with your sales hat on, making calls, right? Reaching out every few months, whatever it takes to move this person through whatever your sales funnel is, right? It's appointment scheduled, qualify them to buy. Is this a qualified prospect? Schedule presentation. Has the decision maker bought in? Send a proposal, and then closed won, closed lost, or limbo is a favorite of mine because you wind up having a lot of, especially if you're in a career or an industry with a long sales cycle like business brokerage, you might have a lot of people that wind up in limbo. But the idea is you want to have these people wind up in a sales pipeline, and then you want to be able to have clear visibility on who the prospect is. So if you have a deal like this, you can take notes, you can see all the deal activity, you can see the information about the deal, and then most importantly, you can see the contacts and the companies associated with the deal. So again, this is sample data, but if you click into a contact, you should be able to see name, job title, email, membership notes, their LinkedIn URL, their website URL, their address, their company. If it's something like HubSpot, you should be able to click through and see, okay, there's their website. This looks like a nice website, legit prospect or not. They should have their own CRM company where you can get more data, phone number, address, descriptions, social descriptions, LinkedIn bio, etc. Whatever CRM you're using, you should have this kind of data. You should be armed with this data before you make a call. If you're running a social selling program, ideally, you are making a warm call because someone already knows who you are and they've already shown interest. But if you're making a cold call, you do not want to reach out without having that basic information. Some of the main points of a CRM, regardless of HubSpot, right? You want to be able to log meetings, right? So log a meeting, log an email, log a call. When you're on the phone with a prospect, take notes, have that all show up in your activity feed so that if you haven't spoken with a prospect for 6 months and they pop up out of the blue, you can just jump right back into the conversation that you were having. Record personal facts if you're on the phone and there's a dog barking in the background. My first sales gig, I remember working with a financial advisor who told me to do just that. Make a comment that there's a dog barking and bring that up if you can. A little sleazy, but it's a sales tactic that you have put into a CRM, especially if you're working on a team with multiple employees under the same umbrella. You want everyone to have all the information they can if they're speaking with a customer or a prospect. Assigning a task, you want to be able to name a task, right? So call John, write notes, he wants to buy. Assign it to a member of your team, assign it for a specific day, and make sure that that's popping up not only in the CRM, but it's linked up to your email. That is the base functionality of HubSpot. I don't want to turn this into a HubSpot lunch and learn, but the key point here with a social selling program is that you want to have all of these prospects getting pulled into a CRM so that you can touch them via email, put them in your newsletter, do some list-based advertising if you're going to do that. LinkedIn especially is just a channel. It's an amazingly effective channel, especially today, but there are always going to be new channels. So whatever program you're running, you need to have an effective CRM to capture that. And quite frankly, I'm surprised at how many people are still using spreadsheets to do this. Or they have a CRM, they're just not engaged with this on a regular basis. So that is pretty much the lunch and learn for today. Hope it was valuable. I know we dove into the CRM. That's going to be relevant for the people who are asking about it. Maybe some people really didn't care to hear about that, but every week we're going to touch on the feedback that we get, and that's the feedback that we really heard this week. The company profiles versus LinkedIn profiles and the CRM questions. So if you want us to cover anything at the end of this lunch and learn, as always, you'll have a survey and we'll ask how we're doing. Do you want us to cover any specific topics? Put those topics in, because we are doing these according to your feedback. So if anyone has any questions, you can ask now. Technically we have 10 minutes on the clock, but unless we have any questions, I'll wind it up and we can all move on with our day-to-day. So I'll give it a couple minutes tops for questions. All right, so I think we're good. No questions. All right, guys. Well, hope that was valuable. Please answer the survey so it can help guide us with these things going forward. Have a great holiday weekend.